Alright, I'll sit next to Barry. He can warm me up.
Okay,
Body heat.
What we see over here, right, is nature, and the valley here is called Emek Habacha, the valley of tears, taken from the verse in Psalms, which we say before benching a lot of times. What we meant when we speak about Emek Habacha. What happened here is a sad story. In 1973, in October, Egypt was massing its forces on the Suez Canal. Yoni Myers was the Prime Minister, and she was told the Egyptians are massing their forces, they're going to attack. So she said, well, we're not going to preemptively strike. We did that in 67 and people were upset with us, so wait till they attack. And when they attacked, it hit us so hard that we didn't dream it would be so severe. They were armed by Russia, by the Soviet Union, and they had anti-aircraft, very advanced anti-aircraft bombs, and they had anti-tank, the Sega, which we didn't know how to deal with it. And over here, Syria came with all its tanks, and they outnumbered us by far. And their tanks were way more advanced, and they had night vision. And we did not have night vision.
That's a huge difference.
Yes. And so, over here, all of a sudden, you had hundreds of tanks coming over this way, and you had our few tanks, and it was a very close battle. And there's somebody called Victor Kehlani, which in 1967, he was in a tank in the Sinai, and his tank caught fire, and he suffered third-degree bruises, burns on most of his body, and they exempted him from the army, and they gave him a profile of 19, which is like a really low profile, which means you can't serve in the army pretty much, and he changed it to 97. And 97 is the highest profile you can get in the army, and he came back, and in 73 he was a commander of a tank unit, and he brought his tanks forward over here, and he took them on directly, and he describes the battle over here in Emek Habacha when all the other tanks had pretty much been blown up. He's driving through with his tank, and he can't see because it's night, but he has this big light on him, and he flashes the light in front of him, and he sees a tank like 5 meters ahead, and the tank turns and aims its cannon towards him, and then he told his guys fire, and they blew the tank up. And it was like crazy warfare going on, like hand to hand.
What a story.
It's like a shootout, but instead of pistols, it was tanks.
And you have tanks coming from here, and tanks going down south, and overtaking the area of the Golan, coming into the area of the Galilee and Tiberias, and miraculously they stopped. And nobody knew why. They passed all the lines. Here you had Kehlani's one tank. It wasn't a big. Most of the tanks continued already. They didn't, they didn't care about 1 or 2 tanks that were left behind, the Jewish Israeli tanks. And one of the commanders afterwards, after the war, said that the reason that he stopped is he heard a voice from heaven that said stop, and stopped. The situation was awful. It looked like we were going to be totally defeated. The Minister of Defense, Moshe Dayan, got up and he said, this is the destruction of the third temple. What we built here in the state of Israel is going to be gone. And he gave the order to arm 13 nukes. Israel had 30 nuclear bombs. Yeah, which which apparently is really what happened. It's not really clear. It's like behind the
It's
scenes.
always been denied.
It's been
Everybody,
denied,
the whole
yeah.
world knows the reality of it, and it still is always denied.
Yes, exactly. And then America sent supplies. The United States sent supplies, and we managed to get out of it. It was like it was a month of fearsome fighting, and we managed to push them back. And we pushed them back beyond Quneitra, and we came so close to Damascus. I told you about Kav HaTilim, the line of the hills. Yeah. A hill, and another hill, and another hill. There is another Kav Tilim, another line of hills beyond that way, 40 kilometers from Damascus. And we got there, and then we stopped, and we negotiated with them, and they said, well, there'll be a ceasefire. We're not making peace with you, but there'll be a ceasefire, and we'll keep quiet. And they said, we want a few things, and we want Quneitra. And we said, fine, we give them back Quneitra, and they said, we want Har Avital and Har Bental, which are one of these mountains over there.
Yeah.
And so Yoni Myers said, fine, whatever you ask for, you'll get. And then Moshe Dayan, the Minister of Defense, said, no, Golda, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to come and see what you're talking about. And they flew her over here, and she saw these mountains, and she said, wow. I didn't think that they were that important.
It's not just the town, you got to look at the topography.
Yes. So she came and she called the Syrians back. She said, that no. But we'll give you anything else you want to be. We'll give you Quneitra. That's fine. Yeah. So Quneitra was actually the border until 67 was very close to Quneitra, and they couldn't really rebuild their city. It was like right on the border, and it wasn't a lot of people left their houses. And Syria asked us to move further back so that we can let Quneitra flourish again. It was a big, nice city, and so we did it. Golda was very much pro-peace,